Hello, and we continue our journey in the who's who of watchmaking by talking about one of my favorite brands, but it's much more than a brand, it's a luxury group with a very special mindset and attitude. It wouldn't have been too long ago that the mere notion of Hermès being talked about as a luxury watchmaker would have been met with a quizzical expression. This Parisian house, which was originally founded in 1837 by Thierry Hermès as a harness workshop, made fashion watches, albeit very high quality ones that were defined by the house's sartorial codes and equine history, such as its double tour Cape Cod or the stirrup inspired Arceau, rather than by any desire to challenge the likes of Rolex or Patek Philippe. It is a narrative that tends to gloss over the fact that Hermès actually started making watches back in 1928, though a more romantic take on its history would suggest earlier. According to a story told by Guillaume de Seine, sixth generation family member and executive vice president of Hermès International, the first Hermès wristwatch was made for his grandmother back in 1912. Her father fashioned her a strap to stop her pocket watch from constantly falling out of her pocket. So fast forward to 1928, and the watches on sale in the Hermès store were a little bit more considered. They were a collection of chronographs and part of a collaboration with Universal Genève, a brand it continued to sell until the 1950s. Hermès also had a partnership with Jaeger-LeCoultre with documentation that suggests Hermès sold the brand as far back as the early 1900s, as well as collaborating with it on co-branded watches. There was always an interest in luxury watches, just not the capacity to produce them, and it wasn't until 1978 when Jean-Louis Dumas took over from his father, Robert Dumas, that Hermès started to make watches seriously, establishing it La Montre Hermès in Biel, Switzerland. Initially, the watches were quartz in order to capitalize on the brand's burgeoning reputation in Japan. But as taste changed, particularly in Asia, Hermès realized that in order for its watches to be taken seriously, it needed to kick things up a gear. In 2003, Hermès launched its dressage watch, designed by Henri Dorigny, who had created everything from scarves to plates for the brand. So the lines of the case were said to have been inspired by the stirrup strap shackle of a saddle, but that wasn't the most interesting thing about it. More notable was that the dressage contained a movement created by the Sando family-owned Vaucher, part of the Parmigiani group, yet another who's who coming your way soon. Well, this was the moment Hermès made its first step into the world of proper watchmaking. Prior to this, its collections were beautifully made, especially when it came to the inherent leather know-how that was used to make the straps. However, only a handful of them were automatics, which Hermès sourced to ETA ETA. So the dressage was the start of this new phase in Hermès watchmaking history, and by 2006 Hermès acquired a 25% stake in Vaucher, which allowed it to launch its first in-house movement in 2008. So this movement was called the Caliber H1. It was exclusive to Hermès and created for its Clipper H1 watch. Although the Vaucher deal was its first watch acquisition, it was not a move that was entirely out of step with Hermès' established business model, one governed by a desire to invest in quality craftsmanship. Back in 1976, Hermès entered into an agreement with a bootmaker, the famous English John Lobb, to make ready-to-wear shoes under the John Lobb name. And in 1999, it bought a 35% stake in the Jean-Paul Gaultier fashion house. Since then, it has entered into collaboration with or made percentage acquisition of significant players in this ultra-luxury world, from taking a 39.5% stake in specialist textile weaver Perrin & Fils to most recently 2016's acquiring a minority stake in Parisian footwear brand Pierre Hardy. It has also been taking off items from its watch shopping list, taking a 32% in casemaker Joseph Erard Holding in 2011 and completely buying Swiss dial maker Nat Hébert in 2012. So the reason for these stakeholders and acquisition was revealed at Basel World in 2015 when Laurent Dordet, the recently appointed CEO of La Montre Hermès and a family member, unveiled the Slim d'Hermès. It was the first watch to have been produced by this Hermès newly vertically integrated watchmaking business. It was designed by Philippe Delotal, who had been creative director at Hermès since 2009 and who previously worked with the creative team at Patek Philippe, and contained the new extra slim H1950 movement, the third exclusive caliber made for the brand by Vaucher. So to industry watchers, this must have seemed like a strange move despite group revenue growing from 3.75 billion in 2013 to 4.12 billion in 2014, while watch revenue had fallen 11% from 167 million in 2013 to 148 million in 2014. So now was not the time to invest in an entirely new watch line. However, Hermès is merely playing the long game. Its strategy has always been quality first. It's a brand that hasn't opted for mass production or substantial outsourcing. Its emphasis has been on creating products that are unique, exclusive, and in which the hand of the master craftsman can be seen. You only had to look at its pièces uniques watches that each year showcase some of unique métiers d'art. So for instance, back in 2014, it collaborated with French glass artisans Les Cristalleries de Saint-Louis to create the beautiful Arceau Millefiori, which had a dial decorated with thousands of tiny glass flowers. And we made a fabulous video report about it at the time, and please check it out, it's really interesting and fascinating. And last year it showcased the work of Japanese Aka-e or red painting master Busan Fukushima on its slim Hermès Komakurabe watch. And this revered living legend, as they say in Japan, kindly drew something very special for us. I'm keeping it very preciously, means a lot to me. So prior to this, it has also featured dials made from straw marquetry, ones with designs done with the little-known émail ombrant shaded enamel technique, and showcased the work of renowned enameler Anita Porcher on numerous occasions. It has also created playful, subversive watches such as 2011 Le Temps Suspendu, this collaboration with Jean-Marc Widerecht and Agenor, which had a button that allowed the wearer to disengage the hands from the movement, so suspending time. The movement continued to operate in the interim, with the wearer able to reconnect the hands whenever he wanted to know what the time was. So, or you can also think of the Hermès dressage l'heure masquée, which had an hour hand that was concealed by the minute hand, only to be seen when you press the pusher. So across the board, from leather goods to watches, Hermès has remained a premium luxury proposition. Laurent Dordet has spoken in the past about achieving a qualitative growth we can be proud of, and in which we are both Hermès and watchmaker. And this kind of thing cannot happen overnight. However, Hermès has managed to survive 180 years without compromising on its luxury vision. It has risen to become the second most valuable luxury brand globally behind Louis Vuitton, which is no mean feat for a company that continues to be family run. It may not yet be the finest embodiment of traditional luxury watchmaking for a few, but it is fast becoming a serious challenger the old guard must be watching out. So hope you like this one too. All the best, and see you soon as we will continue our journey in our who's who of watchmaking. See you real soon.